Jake Paul fight, what is your reaction when you see that?
I don't really know where to go with this subject, because if I say something, I'm going to get backlash.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him, this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up?
Floyd Mayweather has finally spoken up about the much talked about possible fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. As expected, Floyd didn't hold back. In true Mayweather style, the undefeated boxing icon gave a sharp and calculated response. He brushed off the entertainment factor that Jake Paul brings and made it clear that Tank Davis is one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport today.
Into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in this sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/buy.
With his usual confidence, Floyd pointed out that while Jake Paul has done a great job turning his social media fame into big money, stepping into the ring with a killer like Gervonta is a completely different story.
Something I'm going to get backlash, because you know, no matter what I say, it's not
okay. So you can't
it's
say
not right. But well, basically, when you watching boxing for free, yeah, you can have millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah.
But when you're watching Floyd Mayweather, you have to pay.
It's real.
So, I mean, I do pay per view.
Mayweather has been vocal about his doubts regarding Jake Paul's boxing career. In several interviews, Floyd has said that Jake isn't ready for a real professional opponent. He believes that once Jake steps in the ring with someone experienced, it won't end well for him. Floyd admits that Jake has had some success against athletes from other fighting sports, but facing a trained boxer is a whole new challenge.
So that's, where his mindset's at.
It get fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's TMT.
You can curse.
I apologize, but
no apologize.
There's no way he get demolished.
As soon as Jake Paul's name was mentioned alongside Gervonta Tank Davis, opinions poured in from all corners of the boxing world. Experts, contenders, and commentators weighed in. Some questioned what this means for the future and integrity of the sport, while others acknowledged the money and attention such a crossover fight would bring, even if it doesn't sit right with everyone.
Fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You could knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you were saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can.
Plenty of critics have slammed the idea of Davis fighting Paul, calling it absurd and damaging to Tank's legacy. One fan on Essentially Sports wrote, Tank Davis moving from 135 to 195 is just pure insanity, calling it a clown move and accusing Jake of chasing a payday from one of boxing's biggest names. Veteran boxing analyst Paulie Malignaggi criticized Davis's recent opponents, saying he's dodged top lightweights. Meanwhile, lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson called a possible Paul fight disrespectful to boxing, especially if Davis chooses a crossover event over a proper unification match. Many fans and insiders feel there's too much risk and not enough reward in Tank chasing cash over credibility.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to cover this because there's no way there's no way they're really going to do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Shakur Stevenson hasn't held back either. He's been openly critical of the idea that Gervonta would fight Jake Paul before fighting him. Shakur believes it's unfair, not just to himself, but to the sport as a whole. Man, Tank is disrespecting boxing if he picks Jake Paul over me. Stevenson said in an interview with Fight Hub TV, he's frustrated that Tank might skip a real title fight in favor of what he sees as a gimmick. Shakur made it clear, if Tank wants to prove he's the best, he needs to fight top-tier boxers, not YouTubers.
Think of Jake. Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in a box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough.
Gervonta Davis's opinion of Jake Paul has changed over time. At first, he brushed Jake off as just another loud internet star. Even as Jake started to take training seriously, Tank wasn't impressed. But as time went on, Davis began to acknowledge that Paul's dedication in the gym was real. By late 2023, Tank admitted that Jake had earned some respect, not as a top boxer, but as someone with real mental and physical toughness. After Davis's controversial draw with Lamont Roach, he even hinted that he might call Jake out for a fight, showing a new level of respect for Jake's hustle and popularity, despite the weight and skill gap between them.
Cesar Chavez Jr., we promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Yeah. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this. A lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So
Jake Paul's reputation in boxing took a major leap after his convincing win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The event in Anaheim broke the Venues Gate revenue record, beating even shows headlined by names like Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia. This was a clear sign of Jake's rising influence. Big names like Oscar de la Hoya now see Paul as serious about boxing, even suggesting he could someday fight for a world title. Manny Pacquiao also admitted that whatever doubts people have, Paul's commitment to the sport is real. Analysts praise Jake's ability to control the ring and stay composed under pressure. Canelo Alvarez, who once fought Chavez Jr. in a promoted match years ago, couldn't knock him out. So if Jake can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr., that's a big deal. It's something Canelo couldn't do. People say Jake Paul isn't a real fighter, but now he's up against someone who is. This fight is a real test for both. Jake Paul is a master promoter, and he's doing big things. Even Mike Tyson drew in 60 million viewers when fighting. Now, Jake is taking on a dangerous, trained fighter in Chavez Jr. This one's no gimmick.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
I don't know, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
9-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And it's another win for Jake Paul. He was greeted with boos post-fight after winning his 6th straight fight, calling out anyone and everyone requesting multiple title shots in a possible rematch with Tommy Fury. Jake claims he's just getting warmed up. This was just his 13th professional boxing fight. Back here with Brian Campbell, Danny Vitlani. BC, what did you see? What are your takeaways from this latest bout from Jake Paul?
It kind of depends on what we're judging him. If we're judging Jake Paul as a future cruiserweight title challenger, I'd have to say he has a long way to go. But going 10 rounds against a former champion, even if that former champion is a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was 39 years old and really 13 years or so removed from credibility in the ring, at least Jake had to go 10 hard rounds, which was an improvement from some of the 8-round fights he's had earlier. And he had to fight off a somewhat stiff challenge late from a Chavez who pretty much took the first 4 rounds off completely of this fight and really took a long time to heat up and finally get going. I don't mean to be a hater here, but you do have to judge with some knowledge compared to the rest of boxing. It's one thing to be the best celebrity fighter in the world. It's another thing to legitimately climb the ladder and fight.
Jake Paul has made it clear that his next chapter in boxing has started, and this time he's aiming at real boxers. After beating Andre August, Jake announced that he's done with crossover fights and MMA opponents. Now, he wants to go the traditional route, targeting legit professionals. He said in a CNN interview that he's ready to face the biggest and toughest fighters, especially those who are expected to beat him. Jake's determined to prove himself and build a real legacy. Across all his platforms, he's repeated that message. He wants to leave behind a sideshow and be taken seriously in the boxing world.
Has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Serra on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until the point I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy, but you need to focus on the next task because that could be a big.
Logan Paul has been a constant source of support for his younger brother Jake throughout his boxing journey. He's proud of Jake's intense training, strong mindset, and willingness to face tough opponents. Even though Jake came from a non-traditional background and faced plenty of doubters, Logan believes that Jake's record of 11-1 speaks volumes. Logan often points out that Jake's boldness in choosing hard fights is rare. His success is a reflection of his hard work and dedication. Logan's respect for Jake shows just how far Jake has come, not just in popularity, but in earning respect from the boxing community.
Really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They say it's over. They think that this time Lamont go in more confident, knowing that basically he can, really take it to Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident because you gonna go up against a different Tank. Like I told y'all in previous videos, he gonna go in there confident, thinking he could walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he get you on that button, them lights going off. I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that's gonna fold. You're going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's gonna get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont, bro. I feel like you was in your head too much, you was overconfident, and you was really just, your mind was in y'all story, the lore and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont, this from the same camp, we from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up. Because you got to think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that like got to step back from a situation. That's why I think he's being hushed right now. Because when he come this time, it ain't no talking. And that's why I think it's scary, because we never see Tank in that mode where he don't say a word. I think this gonna be a different Tank. And what's crazy is Tank used to be like that in the beginning. Like when he was with Floyd, like when I'm talking about Tank with the fade, with the waves, bro. He ain't used to be on that showboat and stuff until he got like, you know, a little bit more in the boxing, you know, thing. Of course, once you with Floyd, you gonna start being flashy and doing backflips off the ring. But in his beginning stages, dude wasn't playing. He was dropping I think that's what he about to go to, bro. And we know that people like, man, did he take Calvin off his team? Nah, like he said, Calvin, his boy. I think he's just rocking with somebody else right now to get him some sharper skills, you know, to change up his skill and what people know him by. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think Tank go take it to Lamont. And that's not me being biased. I think we ain't never seen Tank like this before. And Lamont, I see your mindset. You keep nagging about that win you should have got. Focus on the new fight. Stop talking about I should have won. You know why? You know why he's feeling like that? Because that's like one in a lifetime. He feel like nobody got that close. I should have took the belt right there. Now I ain't gonna never get that shot again. Because he know that boy Tank done buckled up, done cleaned up his mess, and he ready to go. And it's not the same. It's not the same Tank. You mean Tank? You done gave Tank enough time to think about who you are as a boxer and break you down. Yeah, he's cooked. Remember I told y'all what's gonna happen in August. He's cooked. And I feel like Tank, he walking him down. Like, yeah, watch this. I'm about to make an example. Because Tank gonna want to be able to tell everybody to shh.